So this video is going to be about this week's TBR challenge. By week, I really mean however long it takes me to read the books that I've chosen. On average, I'm reading about 5 books a week. I do realize that's quite a lot of reading, and things can come up and I could read far less, and things could come up like I'm home kind of feeling under the weather anyway, home not feeling well, and I could read more. So more or less a week, and it's just a little challenge or an idea to keep myself I like novelty in the daily routine life, so to keep myself engaged and make it a little bit of fun, but totally arbitrary other than that, and nothing other than just a little idea of parameter what I'm going to read for the next week. So this week's TBR challenge is all going to be paperbacks, and it's going to be across the decades. Scratch that, it's hardback. I recently recently rediscovered, I think, a passion for, or a fondness for hardback. And in fact, everything last week was paperback, so it kind of made me feel like my hardbacks weren't getting enough attention. So this week it's all hardback across the decades. Publication date of 1990s, somewhere in the 90s. Publication date of 2000, somewhere in the 2000s. Publication date of 2010s, and then 2020s. And then the 5th book, it's just kind of a wild card. I'm not going to say that much about the books, because the truth is I do a little exploration when I'm picking out of the book boxes, or in the case of this first book, this came from a charity shop. But I kind of like to keep the spirit of curiosity and the willingness to just give things a chance. That's where I'm at right now, to just give things a chance, stay curious. Not everything has to be the most profound experience. Some of them can just have a little nugget of joy, and some actually can be like, well, that's really wasn't fun and kind of problematic, and I'm okay with that too, because it's all just kind of staying in the experience. So I'm not going to say that much about it, maybe just a little things as I get myself excited to read these books, but I haven't done any kind of research around the book. Sometimes I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce the author's name. All stuff I can work on if I do end up really wanting to publish videos. But without further ado, I'll pop on my reading glasses because I might read around some of the things in the book. Mostly I'll just show you the book, tell you why I think I'm excited to read it. And if I end up doing a recap or each book sort of review, then I'll revisit if I was right about what I was excited about, or if there's something else that excited me. So the first book is The Itch, and this is in a recent haul. I got it as a hardback on 50% off book day at a charity shop that I am familiar with because I've done some work in partnership with this charity shop. In any case, this is the selection from the 1990s, and last week there was a lot of, in fact, in almost every book, romance was a pretty primarily, it was a thread. It was a thread. There was a kind of similar thread of unrequited love actually through most of the books that I read last week. So I don't know, but I kind of thought, let me pick something to start off next week that doesn't give me those vibes, but that also gives me fun. I'm kind of ready to do just a little bit of fun reading. I'm just going to read the last little snippet here, and it says, like Good Hair's Alice Andrews, Abra and Natasha are as endearing as they are genuine, and their stories are familiar to all who have known the desolation of heartbreak and the redemption and joy of self-discovery. Yeah. Redemption and joy of self-discovery. It's enough to get me excited. The Itch suggests that someone's anticipating something, or there's maybe even a little bit of sort of coming of age, or coming of age in as much as, you know, becoming your professional adult self. Something there. This book also comes with a bookmark. I am so nerdy when it comes to the joy of finding something like a bookmark in a book, but this bookmark was in the book. It is the Elliott Bay Book Company. I now have several Elliott Bay Book Company bookmarks that I found in books, and it'll stay in the book. It will be the bookmark I use while I read it. It's part of like my experience with books, of like the story of the book as well as the story inside the book. Okay, so the next book is a thriller, I think, mystery thriller. I'm ready. Again, last week I thought that I was gonna have more thrillers, and couple of thrillers, and in fact one ended up being more mystery romance. And I think this is more literary than the books that landed in last week, that landed in mystery or thriller. This is giving me quite literary vibes. This Henning Mankell, whose name I have not sure if I'm pronouncing correctly, and I do really understand that it is important to pronounce people's names correctly. So my apologies. This is a Swedish author, and I was pretty excited. I found this right after I had found and then read immediately an Icelandic author, and it was kind of almost a cozy thriller that I really enjoyed. In fact, I have a friend who visits Iceland a lot and wanted that book, so I gave that to that friend. But this I found like right after, and was almost kind of excited, and I was like, no, slow down, you just don't do all your thrillers at once. So I'm just going to read the synopsis. A richly plotted thriller. As Mankell's best-selling, apparently he has a series of mysteries. Kennedy's Brain is a searing portrait of contemporary Africa, where Mankell has traveled and lived for more than 20 years, and a caustic depiction of the contrast between life in the, in quotations, first world and the so-called third world. Already an international bestseller, Kennedy's Brain represents Mankell at the very height of his powers and the master of the intelligent literary thriller. Yeah, okay. I am curious. I'm interested in the discourse about people who are not insiders, writing about communities that they're not insiders to. And I don't know how much of that is true, given that it says traveled and lived. So I don't know how much that is true about Mankell's time and the continent of Africa. I'm also like, I know it says Africa. I'm curious to know, Africa's a continent, which country, or does it span countries? So I have some curiosities. From the moment I picked up this book, I thought that I would like it. I thought it did give me intelligent sort of literary thriller vibes. And I do like thrillers, particularly intelligent ones. So this book is just over 300 pages, so not a hunker. And I think after something that seemed kind of fun and kind of way different kind of book as The Itch, I think this Kennedy's Brain will be a read that I'm looking forward to. And the publication date, by the way, for this is 2007. So this covers my published in the 2000s decade. The next book, which covers my published in the 2010s, is The Study of Animal Languages. And from the moment I saw this book in a box that also had several books that I might have taken, I thought about it. Anyway, I had to contemplate and choose that day. There were several books, and this one compelled me. I think it's a very, very sweet cover, and I didn't know much about it, but then when I was trying to pick which ones I was going to read for this week, I picked it up and looked around it a little bit more, and just read one little bit of the blurb, not what it's about, but just kind of the synopsis, I guess, the blurb, maybe. A dazzling, insightful, and entertaining novel about the limitations of language, the fragility of love, and the ways we misunderstand each other and ourselves. Yeah, totally themes that I love, things that I think about quite often. I also think that this book, published in 2019, by the way, so it just coming right in at the end of the 2010s to meet that decade for this challenge. I just feel like this is such a different book than the other two books that I had selected for next week's TBR, this coming week's TBR, I guess I should say. And that excites me. I like some diversity in reading, even within a book. And so sort of the last one of the decade series is the biggest one. And this from the book box on my block. That's where I got it, the book box on my block. And I knew like nothing apart from it being really fun and green, a hardback, which has been sort of compelling me, and the only book in the box that I would have taken, even remotely compelled towards. I didn't know anything about it. Come and Get It. Yeah, I like the title. And I'm just going to read the little blurb. Sharp and intimate, Come and Get It. The new thought-provoking singular novel by the best-selling and critically acclaimed author Kelly Reid explores the choices we make, particularly for things that can and cannot be paid for. Yeah, that I'm here for it. I'm here. That is a decent exploration. I feel like, if anything, this kind of rounds out the week because it's almost feeling a little similar to The Itch, in some kind of way. Like, just out of college, trying to make it in the world, something like that. Yeah. I think, as with all of the other books that I just mentioned, I'm excited for this book. This isn't just a, let me see, and we'll see how it goes and get it off my shelf kind of thing. This is a really exciting reading week for me, which leads me to the final book, which is sort of my cozy palette cleanser book. Again, I don't really know anything about this book. I've only recently, actually I took it out of a box that I didn't have anything at the moment to trade for, but I have that box earmarked. This is a box that normally just has children's books. I have some youth, some of those middle grade books that I have in my mind to take there once I read them. But in any case, this was just calling to me, and it was the one that I was like spontaneously, I want to read it sooner rather than later. And it just, if anything, could be more cozy feeling than this little book. And it's my wild card. It's hardback, so it fits that, but it's publications 2020. So I kind of have finalizing the week with two more recent publications. And what are you looking for in this library? I just read around it a little, and I think the synopsis is that there's some great, also there's illustrations. I often say animation when I mean illustration. There's illustrations in this book. I just think those visuals will be really lovely also as part of this cozy end of the week palette cleanser. And I believe these are little stories about people who come into a library, and the librarian helps them find what it is they're looking for. So if I'm excited at all for this week of reading, I'm excited to get through my 4 other choices so that I can get to this one and see how, if I'm right, if this is as cozy and as sort of introspectively but uplifting as I predict it to be. So yeah, that's my week in reading. 5 books across the decades.